silent film. F.W. Murnau also released a film this year. However, it was his first American picture.
Mm-hmm. And it was also the first unique and artistic picture.
Correct. We're talking about Sunrise, a song of two humans. A lot of like colon titles this year.
What
Berlin, A Symphony of a Great City, The Lodger, a Tale of London Fog, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. One of the first two Academy Award winners for Best Picture in 1929. I first saw this movie at Brooklyn College and was kind of blown away by it. I had never heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. I went in completely blind, and I was like, good golly, what a picture. And this is for up until like we started this podcast, I considered this my favorite silent movie. I don't know if that's entirely true anymore. There's some others that are creeping up there.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm very curious to hear just like what are your thoughts?
This movie is I feel like every time it's been happening a lot with like almost every episode where I'm like, now this is movies. and I feel like I felt that very strongly with this and Wings, which we'll talk about later.
Capital M movies. They're like, oh, this one's got everything.
This is I was just like, this is Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. I mean, Sunrise it's still one of my favorite silent movies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it might even creep up into just generic, like one of my favorite movies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this movie's so good.
I like it a lot. I think that there's an element of this movie that held me back a little bit. That element being, I never really bought the romance of it. The kind of central romance of this movie. I was always a little uneasy about it.
It asks a lot of the audience, for sure, to buy into the central romance. And this movie is a very... That's the whole point of it, right, is the romance.
Yeah, and I felt like it kept doing all of these things to sort of undermine... I wasn't sure if it was intentional or not. Like, to undermine how much you're supposed to get swept up in this romance. I don't know.
It's definitely it's a weird movie to be this romantic considering the places it goes.
Yeah.
So I guess just a little backstory stuff. This is F.W. Murnau's first movie working as a director in the States.
We know him from Nosferatu and Faust and The Last Laugh and a bunch of other stuff.
This is also, I believe, the first feature to use sound on film technology. And this has synchronized music and some sound effects that are like, attached to it on the film itself. In the way that 35mm film still, it's a different process now. It's different, but the idea of having the strips on the side that contain the soundtrack. This was the first feature to use, as far as I know. And this movie takes place in a kind of vague setting. It's not really clear if it's supposed to be the United States or Europe. It could kind of be either one, or both, or neither.
The country and the big city.
Exactly. In a way that I love. I love the vagary of the setting. And yeah, it's got that whole opening bit with like, there's like the ship, like the multiple exposure, like collage stuff. There's a lot of that this year I've noticed too, of like kind of visual collage being done through multiple exposure of like different shots being combined together in really cool ways. This movie has a ton of that and really amazing stuff. And I feel like this movie is very lavish for sure, but in a way that feels less indulgent than I think some of Murnau's earlier stuff. Maybe just Faust. Because Faust is like throwing a lot of stuff at the screen all the time.
Right.
And it sometimes, I think I said in that episode, like, it feels like he's kind of showing off sometimes. Whereas this movie is just as lavish, if not more so, but it doesn't feel as indulgent.
It's visually rich, but it feels like it should be.
Yes. And it feels like it feels motivated and earned, and it has a point.
I think that this is another example. You were talking about those early shots. Something that Murnau does that I really like is that he has so much depth in his shots.
And
it's like, it's not like there's a lot going on in like, what axis would you call that?
I don't know what all the axes are.
Oh yeah, the z-axis. Yeah, there's so much going on in the z-axis, but without being busy. Like, it's all very thoughtfully put together of where things are in the frame and like how they're lit, so that you can have these shots that are very often, it seems like another big motif with him is like glass in the middle of the frame. And so they're like separated by glass and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. And so those, they're shots of like a train station, right? At the beginning of the movie. And yeah, it's just like beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. A lot of camera movement and a lot of like subtle camera movement too, in ways that feel very modern. And I think feel modern in a way that I think a lot of like 30s and 40s movies don't, because they were kind of restrained by sound tech. Where they had to shoot on sound stages and they had to put the camera in a giant box to film in because of the sound. I think now that we're in this like last hurrah kind of silent film, we're seeing a lot of stuff that almost didn't come back until like the 50s or 60s, because it was like they didn't have to worry about sound, so they were like doing a lot more camera movement and like expressive camera stuff.
Yeah, and I think Murnau is really at the forefront of that.
Oh yeah, because like Last Laugh was a huge... that I feel like really kind of pushed like the medium forward in a big way. And I feel like even other directors saw Last Laugh and they're like, oh shit, we gotta do more of this now.
We gotta move this camera around.
Yeah. So I don't know, we should probably... this movie's not super plotty. This movie kind of feels almost like a fairy tale.
Yeah, in terms of how it could just get really dark really quickly.
Yeah. Or start really... I mean, it starts with this sort of like kind of establishing the setting, right, of like the city, the country. Life is happy. We see people going across the water from the city to the country, and then we meet our main characters, who are not in the best place in life.
No, they're a husband and wife who their marriage has lost all happiness. The husband doesn't love the wife anymore, and he's being seduced by this vamp from the city.
A city woman, I think is how she's referred to.
A city woman, a woman of Paris. So he's just like a total garbage man.
Yeah, we see a brief kind of flashback of them in their happier days, like on the farm, and then we kind of contrast that with now they're both just like
miserable,
both depressed, miserable, can't even look at each other. They have a child that neither of them seems to pay any attention to. Although, they just have a nanny.
The wife, like, she seems to be, there's nothing wrong with her, right? There's something wrong with the guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, she is just, living a horrible life.
Yeah. So the husband is, and there's no character names in this. It's just like the man, the woman from the city.
Yeah.
I think it is like husband, wife, woman from the city. So the husband goes off to meet the city woman in a sort of sexy swamp rendezvous at night.
Meet me in the swamp. She's like,
is that our episode title? Sexy Swamp Rendezvous?
She's like, let's get Shrekky in the swamp. And she's like, hey, it would be a good idea. You know what I've been thinking about? Because, we really want a relationship to take off here.
Well, first she's like, I think you should move with me back to the city. Like, you should come with me back to the city and we can live together. And he's like, well, what about my wife? And she's like, you could always just drown her, I guess. That would solve that problem.
And initially he's like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Get away from me. You're horrible. And then he's like,
now that I think about it,
I really could drown my wife.
And so he like goes through this whole plan. I mean, there's like moments where he's definitely definitely having second thoughts about it, but he's like procuring all these reeds that float, right? Bundles of reeds. He's going to go out on the water with his wife on the boat, and he's going to flip the boat over. She's going to drown. He's going to float away on the reeds, and he's going to get rid of the reeds. So then it'll be like, there was an accident.
Yeah. And yeah, he's having a lot of second thoughts. The city woman is like just completely on board. This was her idea in the first place.
Yeah.
And she's just eagerly anticipating him coming back, having drowned his wife.
Right. So then, like, the next day, he is like, all right, let's go out on the water. And the wife is, like, kind of excited. She's like, oh, like, we're actually doing something as a couple now. We're going to go to the city.
Like, he's reaching out to me. Although he does go, like, hey, let's go on the water. Let's, we should get on the boat. That'll be a good idea.
The husband at this point is the most surly looking man alive. So yeah, they go out in the water and he is about to just like chuck her into the water. He is like,
yeah, he's like hulking over her. Like you see this shot of his back and her just horror looking at him.
So good. Yeah, realizing what he's about to do.
Yeah. So like, you know, she's having this kind of cautiously optimistic time with this guy who's acting weird. And then she's like, oh, that's why he's acting weird. Like, oh, God.
He's going to murder me.
So he has second thoughts right as...
The closest he could possibly get to murdering her and not doing it is how far he goes with it.
And he is so scary is the thing.
Yeah.
Like... he is going to kill her. He has like lost all soul.
You can
from
see
his
murder
eyes.
in his eyes. Yeah.
And like when he's not saying anything either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's trying to have conversations with him and he is just silent. He's just rowing like on a mission. After this happens, he's like, "Oh God, what have I done?" He sits back down and still not saying anything, just quickly rows back to shore, and he's like, "Baby, let's talk about this." And then she's like,
"No."
She just runs away.
Yeah, as well she should. She runs away from the person who's about to murder her. And he chases after her, and they get to a sort of trolley that leads to the city, and she jumps on the trolley to escape, and he catches up, and he also jumps on the trolley, and they kind of stand on the trolley in this really tense trolley ride of like, are we not going to talk about the fact you just tried to kill me? But they don't.
And you know, I think he's trying to do what he can to smooth things over, but she's not really like, she's like, you just tried to kill me, I'm not listening to you. And like, so she can't, like, they get to the city and she keeps trying to escape from him again, and he keeps having to like restrain her to
he keeps like chasing her and like grabbing hold of her, and it's like he's trying to, I guess, apologize or to like smooth things over, and it's like, dude, it's, I don't know, that's a rough thing to walk back.
Just let it go. Except the movie's on his side. Because
the movie is a hopelessly romantic movie, and it needs to start in the lowest. It needs to start in a place where it's like, these two people are not going to reconcile. Like, you can't come back from this.
And then they stumble into a wedding.
Yeah, they go to a church.
We're married.
I mean, more or less, yeah.
This is why I didn't buy it.
Right, it's this scene is like a super pivotal scene and happens very quickly. And I think this is probably the scene that needs the most work, I guess, because it is like they go from this thing of like, I need to get away from you because you tried to kill me, to going and watching a wedding happen and sort of like remembering that they were married, and you know they're the wedding's happening and they're hearing the talk about, you know, commitment and love and all this stuff, and they're looking at each other and they're like, we did say all this stuff already, I guess. And so they at least come to a place where they're like, all right, let's at least be there for each other right now.
They're like, and so they're like cautiously like, okay, like, you know, I understand that you're not trying to kill me anymore.
Right. Okay. Like, clean slate. Let's like build up from here. So then they walk out of the church, and it's like everyone thinks that it's the couple getting married, and it's just them. They leave, and then we have basically the entire like second act of this movie is them like doing romantic hijinks in the city.
Yeah, which is it is nice. Like, there is a lot of it that is sweet and Very romantic.
Right after they leave the church, there's an amazing shot scene of them walking through the street, and the street fades into, they stay in the same place. It's like their center frame. The street around them transforms into like the country. This like sun dappled country land.
This, I believe, is a new effect. I think this might be the first time that that it is used ever. It's effectively a green screen.
I mean, it's a matte shot, right? Like,
but it's a traveling
matted
matte.
out. Yes.
So it's rotoscoping around them the entire time, where they can fade in these other scenes, and nothing's like that kind of hazy multiple exposure kind of thing. It's like they have like a kind of cutout around them that's done fairly well, and then these scenes are just there behind them.
Yeah.
And it's using these effects for like amazing kind of metaphorical purpose.
Yeah. It's like they're like locked in each other's eyes. They're just like lost in the moment, walking together. We see the world around them change, and then the world comes crashing back when all of the cars on the street crash into each other because they're walking through traffic.
they're too lost in each other's eyes, and just seeing all of life go by beyond them to realize that they're walking into traffic.
Which, I mean, this applies to like this whole middle section of the movie. I think this movie does a really good job of capturing that feeling of like losing yourself in the moment, kind of.
Yeah.
I think
and
that
is
the thing
visually too.
Right.
Cool.
I think that is the thing that makes this movie work. Despite its ridiculous, crazy premise, is that it nails that stuff so well. Like once they do start to reconcile, I do really genuinely buy their romance. Like once there's that initial spot where it's like it's such a sharp like turn from like murder to like at least kind of passivity or like kind of coming back from it. That change happens really quickly, but I think the sort of longer build up of them leaving the church, and then like they go to the barber shop and they go into like getting food and all these adventures they have in the city. They go to the portrait studio.
That's fun. Some fun hijinks.
They go dancing. Like all of that. All of these scenes are so good and so romantic that the movie just works for me.
Yeah, they're rediscovering their love.
I'm also a big softie, I'll admit to that. And yeah, this is where I think a lot of the comedy of the movie comes in. Like this tonally feels so different from the beginning of the movie is like gothic and dark and creepy, and like there's like murder plots happening, and then now it's like a romantic comedy of them like, let's go to a portrait studio and take crazy pictures.
Let's play this game where we make pigs fall down, and then one of the pigs gets away, and then we have to catch the pig.
Yeah, and then a chef sees the pig under a blanket, and for 50 seconds, the chef thinks there are monsters on the world.
No.
And then the pig drinks wine and gets drunk and stumbles around.
Yeah. We gotta catch a drunk pig.
There's a good bit where they go to like a hair salon place, and the husband is getting his haircut and he's getting shaved, and this woman comes up to like give him a manicure or whatever, and it's like the wife has to be like, get out of here, he doesn't need a manicure.
Not my man.
Yeah, there's like a guy hitting on the wife then, and they're...
Oh, I mean, this is the other thing, right? I was getting ready to buy this romance, right? Yeah. I was getting ready to go like, it's a melodrama, they reconciled, right? And this is, the score emphasizes this moment. So I know it was on purpose, I guess. The kind of movie tone printed on score. Because when the guy's coming up to the wife or this other guy trying to hit on her, and then the husband comes up and then menacingly comes toward this other guy with a knife, and he's like, stay away from my wife, and the music turns to these kind of like ominous strings, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh god, like he is still dangerous, you know? Like,
yeah,
they're doing this kind of thing that they did in The Lodger a little bit, where they're playing with it, because it ends up being that he just like uses the knife for an innocent purpose, but he's like threatening this guy with a knife, and this is a guy that 20 minutes ago was about to murder somebody, right?
Yeah, he was about to murder his wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that moment, like, I think without that moment, this movie like would have worked a lot better for me, because that moment made me think, this isn't going to be a happy ending. This is going to be them rekindling their romance only for it to fall apart again because he is irrevocably violent, right? And that was like where I was expecting the movie to go, and then it just kind of ended sincerely, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I do think the movie sets itself up for having a very tragic ending up until very late. It really only is like happy and sincere right at the end, like
last laugh.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like I'd forgotten about that moment. That is a weird moment. That is sort of, you're almost like, oh no, is he gonna kill somebody? Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I'm not gonna defend it, but I think the intent there is to kind of keep a bit of the ambiguity and keep a bit of the tension of like, how is the story gonna end? Because after all the hijinks in the city, they get back on their boat and they're going back, right? They've fully reconciled and rekindled. They are like as in love as they ever have been by the point that they leave the city. And they get back on the boat and they're rowing back across the water, and a storm hits. And suddenly they're in the stormy waters. They get thrown overboard. The husband makes his way to shore, but he doesn't know what happened to the wife. And so he gets the town together to do a rescue party, and they're going out on the water, and they just find a bundle of the floating reeds that he had initially brought out as a way of surviving his murder attempt, his sort of staged murder thing. And they're like, oh, I guess she's gone. Like they can't find a body or anything. We, the audience, see that she is floating away.
I mean, that moment is ambiguous. I think it's like either she's floating away safe or floating away dead.
Right. Yes.
Meanwhile, the city woman's like, goody goody gumdrops. My plan went happened properly.
So then he meets up, like he's back at the town thinking that his wife has died via accident now, right after he's sort of like rekindled his love with her. And he sees the city woman, and she's like, hello, I see that you went through with your plan. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you now. So he's like chasing after her, and he's about to like throttle her to death when there's a cry from the shore, and there was one guy who was still out in the water looking for the wife, and they found her and they brought her back, and he's like, oh god, I was really gonna do something there and it wouldn't have been good. And that's when, yeah, they are able to like, okay, like, we've reconciled, we're both alive, we're both very happy to be alive, let's go back, let's like get our kid that we remember that we have.
Hey, sometimes the parents just gotta have a nice day out on the town without the kids, you know?
Very true. A big part of this movie, I think, is that too, of like, marriage not going so great, have an eye on the town. It'll be fun.
Chase a drunk pig.
Chase a drunk pig. Do a dance while a guy plays with a woman's dress shoulders.
What a ridiculous gag.
And so then the movie ends with them, living happily in the country, and we get this, I think, very funny shot of the city woman on the back of like a cart, like going back to the city, and she's like, oh, I'm mad.
It feels like a very cartoony ending for her right there. It's like
it does kind of. And yeah, this movie has it does feel very fairy tale like in its logic, I guess. I think it's full of things that shouldn't work that somehow I still find myself thinking work. Like the whole thing of murder to like a happy night on the town is like, how did anyone pull this off? I don't understand it. Like I really don't think it should work. I think the performances do a lot. Janet Gaynor plays the wife, and she won the first ever Best Actress Oscar for both this movie and 2 other movies, because it was over multiple years. So she got nominated for 3 movies.
It's like, you done good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think she's very good in this movie. I think the guy who plays the husband, I forget his name because I didn't write it down, but I think he's also very good. And I think their performance in that whole city section and throughout the whole thing is the thing that I think makes this movie work.
Yeah.
When it by all means probably shouldn't. And also just like Murnau directs the hell out of it. It looks great. There's some really inventive stuff happening all throughout.
And it's got sound effects.
It's got sound effects. There's while they're searching the water at night at the end, there's almost this kind of like foghorn sound as he's calling out.
Yeah, that was silly. I didn't like that.
It's weird. It feels like a sort of thing where they're trying something and it didn't really work. But this movie also won the first ever Oscar for Best Cinematography, as well it should.
Yes, it should.
Speaking of movies that won Best Picture awards at the Oscars. Well, actually, before we move on to the other movie, let's talk about how in the 1929 Oscars, there were 2 awards for Best Picture. There was Outstanding Picture, which was sort of, my understanding of it is that was to reward sort of quality of production.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Best Unique and Artistic Picture, which Sunrise won.
Right.
And retroactively has kind of been shut out of the Best Picture lists of movies.
It didn't exist for that long, though, right?
Only the first year.
Yeah.
Only 29.
I feel like people just say like that these two shared Best Picture the first
They
year.
usually don't. In almost every instance, maybe it's changing, but in almost every instance, Wings is given the sole credit for the first Best Picture winner at the Oscars. And it's not really true. There were 2. And Sunrise is kind of better, I think.